Hi class, I'm just going to make you a short tutorial about using the puppet pins. This is just going to be the real basics. There's a lot more you can learn about it. There's more advanced tools, part of the puppet pin tool setup, and there's some tutorials that you can find that I'll put online, professional tutorials that explain that. But I'm just going to show you the real basics so you can get started and try using it in your own digital collages. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen with you, and I'm going to open up After Effects. So I brought in Dancing Man PNG. You can find that on Blackboard. It's the Puppet Pins files, I think it's called, in Blackboard under the project folder for the collage. You can use another element too. You don't have to specifically use this character, but this is how you're going to do it. You just, let's make a new composition. I'm going to make a 1920 by 1080 composition, 24 frames per second, about 10 seconds long. I'm going to name it Dancing Man. Okay. And I'm going to bring my Dancing Man into my composition. And I'm going to go up here to the top to the Puppet Position Pin tool. And the keyboard shortcut's Command P. Click on that. You'll see there's other more advanced tools, and those are the ones you can learn about in another tutorial. Puppet Starch, Puppet Bend, Puppet Advanced, Puppet Overlap. Let's just start with the basics. So if I click on this box to show mesh, and I can change the density of the mesh over here, when I click on this character, you'll see that when I click on him, suddenly he's covered with a mesh of triangles. And this means that he's being turned into a shape that can move much more flexibly. I'm going to place pins at key points on his body. Now the puppet pin tool can be very strange. It can act very peculiar. So, you know, sometimes keep it smooth. I would say keep it subtle for the most part, but there may be places where it's really effective. So you'll see that now I can bend his arm. See how his head responds a little bit? If I hadn't put that pin where his head was, it would be bending a lot more. I bend his knee. You'll see how his leg kind of flexes, and that's not great. So that might be a place where I could try out the Puppet Starch. We go up here, get the Puppet Starch tool, and just use that to stiffen up his leg. Let's see now if I use it. Is it better? A little better, a little better. So you could try playing around with that. So I'm going to show you where these pins live. Under my Dancing Man now, you'll see that there's effects. If I open up effects, you'll see there's Puppet. If I open up Puppet, you'll see Mesh 1. If I open up Mesh 1, you'll see Deform. If I open up Deform, you'll see my 14 pins that I put on that puppet. I think that's counting the starch pins. So I'm going to actually, let me just delete all those pins. And I'm going to show you what would happen if I was much more subtle with my pins or had fewer. So I'm just going to do a couple. Let's see, I'm going to put one here and one here. Let's see what happens with just 2 pins. Oh, I'm on the starch tool. Go back to Puppet Pin, Puppet Position, 2 tools. See how he kind of swings around? So it doesn't really work if you only have, if you don't have enough. Let's see if I put one in his knees. So now I have 4 pins. Okay, so with that, I can get a pretty good shimmy going. So I'm just going to try that because that's simpler to show you what I can do. So looks like this one right here is puppet pin number 2. And I'm going to rename that hips. And now I'm going to take hips, and you'll see that it's already set a keyframe at the start. So I could make keyframes myself by going forward, grabbing the hips, moving them to the side, going forward, grabbing the hips and moving them back to the other side. and it will have animated between those. Or, and this is very fast and kind of more fun, but that's, that's effective. But if I want to do it, have him animate him quite a bit in real time, I can hover over the pin that I inserted and hold the command key. Hold the command key on my Mac. I'm not sure what it is on a PC, but you could look until you see that little stopwatch. You see how a little stopwatch lights up? If you have the stopwatch, you know you're on the right tool. So now watch my timeline as I move forward. You see how it made a bunch of keyframes from everywhere that I moved it? So let's see what that looks like. Kind of crazy. You can see how that could be effective if I did a good job and was thoughtful about it. Let's see what happens if I change these into easy ease keyframes. Maybe a little more smooth. So that is just a starter little introduction to puppet pins. Thank you for watching.